whilst performing to 52,000 people in Sweden. Disaster struck. The lead singer hit the floor after trying to jump on a ramp and instead falling into the security area. Bravely carrying on, the singer got up and told the crowd, "I think I just broke my leg." Sadly, the singer's instinct was right and the star was faced with a broken leg and a crowd of eager Foo Fighters fans. Talking to Entertainment Weekly at the time, he said, "When it happened, I didn't feel a thing. I tried to get up and walk and my ankle collapsed under my weight. I just fell back to the ground and looked up at my road crew and said, 'It's broken. It's gone.'" The band didn't know what was happening, so they kept playing. "I looked at my foot, and it was just hanging there, because it was dislocated and my leg was broken." The band's brutal 3-hour shows and rest of the Mammoth tour were hanging in the balance, but in true rock and roll form, Dave said to the crowd, "I'm going to go to hospital. I'm going to fix my leg. And then I'm going to come back." And that is exactly what he did. Dave continued to say, "They pulled me to the side of the stage and the doctor said, 'Your ankle's dislocated and I have to put it back into place right now.' They put this roll of gauze in my mouth and I screamed and bit down on it and they put my ankle back into place and then everyone was quiet for a minute." Pfizer booster shot, the side effect reported in 83% of people. "I looked down and said, 'Okay, can I go back on stage now? Because it didn't hurt.' My paramedic doctor said, 'I have to hold your ankle in place,' and I said, 'Well, then you're coming on F-ing stage with me right now.' And he did. At the time, members of the crowd were stunned as the band continued to play for another 2.5 hours with Dave in a cast sitting on the throne. Eyewitness Kieran Brennan from London told the BBC, "It was surreal to see him perform on stage with a medic holding his leg. The crowd was just amazed that he was carrying on. He was just phenomenal. I can't see how he will make the next gig in Holland, but then he's more of a man than I am, so I wouldn't put it past him." Against all odds, the singer managed to continue playing shows whilst recovering from his injury. Dave Meyer's health, the hairy biker devastated after diagnosis, insight longevity, the simple exercise that lowers risk for mortality by 70%, tips Parkinson's, 2 lifestyle behaviors that more than double your risk, latest. Unsurprisingly, it is not the first injury Dave has sustained due to being in the band. A few months before breaking his leg, the star separated a muscle in his arm from the bone. This time unable to continue with live shows, the star took some rare time off to recover after surgery. He said, "I tore my bicep off of the muscle. You ever seen anyone do that? So I had to go and take care of that, and I couldn't wait to come back and play, and I sort of decided that since we're coming back a little late, we've got to work extra hard." Both injuries sustained by the star are incredibly painful. A bicep tear or strain is graded 1 to 3 in terms of severity. Mercury Health explains the following: Grade 1, minor injury that involves overstretching the biceps muscle or tendon, typically without a loss of strength or mobility. Grade 2, causes moderate tearing in the biceps or tendon with some loss of mobility or strength. Grade 3, a complete rupture of the biceps muscle or tendon, may require surgery to repair. In most cases for a torn bicep, the treatment will be non-surgical and involve rest, ice and anti-inflammatory medications. Those who need surgery are those who are experiencing chronic pain or muscle cramping near the shoulder. A broken leg is also incredibly severe and can cause swelling and bruising. When the leg bone breaks, there may be a crack sound. The shock and pain of breaking your leg may cause you to feel faint, dizzy or sick. When dealing with someone who has a broken leg, it is important to call for an ambulance straight away, especially if you are unable to get to A&E. Whilst waiting, the NHS recommends doing the following: avoid moving the injured leg as much as possible, keep it straight and put a cushion or clothing underneath to support it. Do not try to realign any bones that are out of place. Cover any open wounds with a sterile dressing, a clean cloth or a clean item of clothing. Maintain direct pressure on the wound if it keeps bleeding. Depending on how serious the break or fracture is, recovery time will differ. Severe fractures are often treated with surgery to realign and fix the broken bones. Surgeons can fix bones with metal wires, plates, screws or rods.